Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Friday, May 27th, and welcome to our commentary. Well, we usually take a few days off from our videos and our postings when we have a holiday like this. So we'll be off for a couple of days as we celebrate some family time. And of course, on Memorial Day, remember the history of the country and the many men and women over the years who paid, as they like to say, the ultimate price and lost their life in the defense of the country. So we're going to honor them. And around here in the Dallas area, one of the best places to celebrate Memorial Day is there's a cemetery. There's a veteran cemetery in Grand Prairie. They usually have some ceremonies there, and of course, different communities have their own ceremony. You know, I read over the weekend as I was reading about Memorial Day that there's one community in the United States. This goes back to 1867. There's one community that has been celebrating a Memorial Day parade every single year without failure. And it's a community up in Indiana. And every single Memorial Day, they've had a parade. And I know you're going to ask me what the name of the community is. I don't remember it right now. I should have written it down, but I guess it doesn't really matter because I'm sure there's other communities too that do a lot of parades. But Memorial Day is a great day to remember, as I say, to have a little family time and remember the history of the country and the many brave Americans who lost their lives in defense of the country. Now, I mentioned family time, and I think this year, family maybe takes on a little different meaning with what just happened in Uvalde, Texas. Um, I don't know how to say it, but it appears that the police did not function as properly as they could have functioned. That maybe they could have been better, they could have been better organized. I don't know. I don't usually like to criticize the police because I think they generally do the right thing. But in this case, maybe there were shortcomings in how they acted and so on. But I think, in all fairness to the police and in all fairness to the people who were trying to stop this, once this young man got into the school, there was really nothing that you could do at that point. Once he got into the school, all you could do was hope that there was a person in the school with the ability to take him out. Maybe a guard or maybe somebody who could take him out. But once he got in, especially once he got in those classrooms, he was in control. He was in control of the situation. And, one can second guess the police. Okay, I'm certainly willing to listen to that. But again, I think the key here is that he got into the school. And if there's a lesson that I think we need to learn about what just happened in Uvalde is if you're a parent, you better get on the phone and call your school and make sure that all the doors are closed. You better get on that phone and make sure that every single door in your school. Now, I was under the impression there's an article in the Dallas Morning News that came out a day ago saying that I thought Texas was ready. And what they're trying to say is that there was some legislation that the governor signed back in 2018 that put some money in the hands of districts for things like this. And I have no idea why that door was open. Uh, I don't know whether it was somebody's oversight. There had been some parents going in and out of that school all morning because they were, celebrating different kids for graduation and so on. They had some ceremonies. So it's possible. It's possible that the school thought, we're going to leave this door open so parents can come in. I don't know. I don't know the school or the design of the school. But the fact that that door was open, the fact that he was able to get in, that was really the story. As I said, I'll say it again. Once he's in that school, once he's in that classroom, it's over. It's over. All you can do is minimize the damage at that point because it's over. Once he's shooting at those kids, there's not much that those kids are going to be able to shoot back at him. So Terrible, terrible situation. And as I said, as we get together with family this weekend and we appreciate family in this extended weekend, you know, maybe it's a good time to appreciate your family being close to you and all your family being safe, especially after that terrible tragedy in Uvalde, Texas. As you know, I'm the father of three sons, and I have noticed the last 10 to 15 years in the country that boys are having problems. Boys are not going to college. To Boys are having a lot more problems than they used to. And in fact, the percentage of men in colleges has dropped tremendously. And as a whole, boys are having problems in our society. And there was a fellow by the name of Andrew Yang, Yang. Yeah, he ran for president as a Democrat the last time around. And he and I probably don't agree on most issues, but on this one we do. And he wrote an article talking about the problems that boys are having and how we as a society better start listening to these boys and doing something about many of these boys who are having problems. And I mentioned this in the context of Uvalde, this young man in Uvalde, and the young man in Buffalo. They're both 18 years old. They're both solitary young men. They don't have any friends. They live in social media. They don't have the ability to interact with people. They're not connected to family. And, they do something like what they did. And I think that maybe we as a country need to have an honest conversation about what's going on with some of these young men. Now, the honest truth is that most young men are doing fine. Uh, I'm not going to put a percentage on it, but probably 90% of the boys are doing just fine. And they're doing fine, like my sons, because they're raised in a strong family with a strong father, a strong mother. In our case, we had an extended family in the sense that my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, I mean, everybody kind of made up our family and everybody kind of kept up with each other. And all the kids were always talking to each other, from cousins and so on. So nobody had an opportunity to get isolated. Nobody had an opportunity to get lost, if you will, because there was always a family member, whether a cousin or an uncle, who would sort of bring you back and say, hey, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you, why haven't we heard from you for a few days? And that's the kind of family structure that I think benefited my sons and probably benefited your sons as well. But a lot of boys don't have that right now in the United States. A lot of boys are growing up with single mothers. I'm not knocking single mothers. They're doing a fantastic job. They're actually doing a double duty as father and mother. They're not meant to do that, but many of them are doing it, and they're doing a fantastic job. They're doing the best they can. But boys should have fathers in their lives. That's the ideal situation. And a lot of boys are not growing. They're growing up without fathers, and they're growing up in a situation where they can easily go off rail and do some of the things that we saw in Uvalde and in Buffalo and so on. And I think maybe it's time for society to address this point. And I have a post coming out over the weekend saying that maybe what we should do, maybe we should consider bringing back the military draft. We had a draft in the United States until the mid 70s. And by draft, I mean that boys had to register every year at school, and some would be drafted and they would do military service. And millions of young men served in the military over the years. And in many cases, it took young men from different parts of the country and brought them together. But very often, it took young men who were maybe growing up in a dysfunctional home or whatever, and took them away and put them in the military, where they got them some discipline, and they were taught how to respect authority, and they were also taught some skills that they could then use when they got back to society. So I'm beginning to think very much that we should bring back the draft, and we should have this opportunity for young men who don't know what they want to do. They're lost. They don't know what they want to do. They don't have the kind of parental influence that they should have. Maybe we should put them in the Army and give them an opportunity to grow up in a more positive environment with more positive male role models so that they can actually grow up, make something out of themselves. I'm not saying that it will work for everybody, but I think that for many of these young men, many of these problem young men that we have in our country, maybe that's the solution. Maybe that's something we should consider, just to get these young men off the streets, if nothing else. Get them off the streets under the supervision of a military commander or a military base, where at least they're going to get some discipline in their lives. And that discipline then will make them into stronger young men, and then will allow them to get back to society and be more productive young men when they get back to society. As I say, it's not a magic bullet, but I think it would help a lot of these young men grow up and become successful young men. As I said, there is a problem with young men in the United States, and we better deal with it. We better talk about it, because there's a problem. And these young men are not going to college. They're not ambitious. There's something lacking in their lives. And we need to do something about it so that we can bring them and make them productive citizens of our society. There's something wrong. Just look at the numbers. The numbers are all there, and confirm that there is a problem with these many of these young men. Well, anyway, have a great Memorial Day weekend. I hope you have fun with your family. I hope you don't eat too much. And on Monday, I hope you do take a minute and remember why we have a holiday in the first place. Memorial Day, there's a reason for Memorial Day. And I hope you take a few minutes and remember that. Happy holiday, happy Memorial Day to all of you. And we'll see you after the holiday. Bye-bye, everybody.